Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Tech Loft Podcast. I'm your host, Sal, bringing you gaming and tech news and other bits of headlines that I find pretty interesting. Before I begin, I just want to remind everyone that to please, if you like this podcast, please feel free to subscribe. We're found on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as our website, thetechloft.com. And let's get on with the show. So the first bit of headlines I have is Sony PlayStation news. What we have here is that we have another acquisition by Sony, and the headline reads, Sony Interactive Entertainment to acquire Haven Entertainment Studios. Now, this is something that hits close to home because it is Haven is a Canadian-based development company. So PlayStation Studios welcomes first Canadian-based game development team creating new AAA modern multiplayer game for PlayStation. So the news out of California that Sony has entered into an agreement to acquire Haven Entertainment Studios, a Montreal-based development studio formed by acclaimed developer Jade Raymond, founder of Ubisoft Toronto and Motive Studios, and one of the creative forces behind the blockbuster Assassin's Creed franchise, which is one game, Odyssey, that I am still in the middle of playing. I got to get back to that game. I really do enjoy it. But let's get on with this news here. So founded in March of 2021 with an investment from Sony Entertainment. Haven Studios is led by a premier team of game creators with over a decade of experience collaborating on some of the industry's most popular games and franchises. Haven Studios is currently working on its first project, a new live service experience for PlayStation built upon a systemic and evolving world focused on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness. And I have here a quote from Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Haven Studios is an emerging studio with an exceptional team of talent, and we're delighted to welcome them into PlayStation as our first game development studio in Canada. He goes on by saying, the studio's focus on creating an original AAA multiplayer game will not only flex the power of PlayStation 5, but will further expand upon the diverse catalog of gaming experience that can only be found on PlayStation. We've had the privilege of working closely with the team at Haven Studios over the past year and have been extremely impressed with its growth and progress on its first project, said Herman Hulst, head of PlayStation Studios. Jade has built a world-class team with the creative and technical prowess necessary to deliver such an ambitious project. We value the studio's dedication to building a player-first collaborative game environment that can last for generations and are thrilled to have them officially become a part of PlayStation Studios. I'm going to skip further down here. With a team of over 60 employees and growing, Haven Studios will be the 18th studio to join PlayStation Studios family. The day-to-day operations post-acquisition will continue to be run by the management team at Haven Studios in close collaboration with PlayStation Studios leadership team. Terms of this transaction including the acquisition cost, are not disclosed due to contractual commitments. So there you have it. We don't know the price tag of this acquisition, but we can see that both parties are looking forward to joining forces and bringing some titles to the PlayStation 5. Our next headline here is hardware related with the PlayStation 5. So it's a rumor. I found a rumor article here. PlayStation 5 Pro will bring significant improvements in performance and specs over the base PS5. Now, I am not a PS5 owner at the moment, at least not yet. I hope to I mean, I'm looking forward to getting my console, but not at this very moment, and I don't think it'll be the Pro version of the PS5. But let's move on to this article here. According to a new rumor by Red Gaming Tech, the PlayStation 5 Pro iteration of the console will be released by 2024. Not only that, but it will bring several improvements over the base version of the console when it comes to various technologies such as its ray tracing capabilities and performance. Now, fine print here, before I continue, since this is majorly a rumor, we urge our readers to take this information with a grain of salt. Continuing, according to the rumor said by RGT, this new iteration of the PlayStation 5 console will become available by the end of 2023, sometime in 2024. It brings 2 times performance in standard raster, 2.5 times in ray tracing over the vanilla version, and will be designed to provide a better experience with PlayStation VR titles. The console is also stated to use advanced reconstruction techniques. RGT clarifies that the techniques won't be the same as AMD's FSR2, but will be based on Sony's own research. The system will also use TSMC's 5 nanometer process. This process is primarily utilized by Zen 4 cores and is designed for high performance computing. However, another source told RGT that the TSMC's 4 nanometer process could be the one used instead, also known the process found on Apple's M2 the single chip computer. What can you can watch the video made by Red Green. Now I will have the YouTube video posted on the techloft.com. And yeah, so again, this is just a rumor, but the console would pack in new AMD SoCs featuring higher performance and would tackle the high-end 4K, 8K market. I think I have a 4K TV, but only one. But yeah, that's pretty interesting news. Pro variant coming late next year, 2023, 2024. And looks like, yeah, it's going to be, of course, a beefed up version, obviously, to be the Pro iteration of the PlayStation 5. Something to look forward to for the big gamers. So moving on to our Nintendo news, we have some news headlines regarding Mario Kart 8 and its new tracks. So here's an article I found. Mario Kart 8's new tracks are a basic addition to one of Nintendo's all-time greats. And I gotta agree with you, Super Mario Kart is a fantastic title ever since I first played it on the Super Nintendo. I think that after that, I played a little bit on the N64 version, and I've got to play it on the Switch, which is a fantastic looking game, and it's been always a fun game to play, especially with other people in the room. So here we go. Nintendo has released the first 8 of 48 new tracks coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as part of its Booster Course Pass DLC. It's an ambitious release strategy that will eventually see it double the number of courses in the game to an impressive 96 in total by the end of next year. Nintendo might not be referring to these new releases as Mario Kart 9, but 5 years after the release of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and almost 8 years after Mario Kart 8 originally debuted on the Wii U, it's not hard to hope that they might effectively serve as a sequel. While new to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, none of these tracks are brand new. Much like roughly half of the game's original 48 courses, they're remastered from previous Mario Kart games. There's one each from its entries on the N64, Wii, Game Boy Advance, DS, and 3DS, and 3 from Mario Kart Tour, the free-to-play smartphone entry in the series developed by that's DE, and then NA, DNA. Although there are a lot of new tracks on its way, The fundamentals of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe remain unchanged since 2017. The new courses are neatly integrated into the existing interface, allowing you to scroll up from the selection screen to reveal that what will eventually be 12 new cups to the race, each with 4 locations apiece. For now, only the first 2 cups are available, the Golden Dash Cup and Lucky Cat Cup. But beyond the new courses, Nintendo hasn't announced any other new additions to the game that are on the way. There are no new characters, karts, or faster racing speeds like we saw in Mario Kart 8's downloadable content on the Wii U. If you approach this new DLC expecting it to act as a stand-in for a new numbered entry in the series, I think you'll be disappointed. And given the entire 48-track collection costs just $24.99 compared to the $59.99 Nintendo continues to charge for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you probably shouldn't expect it to. But still, it's hard not to play these initial 8 courses and notice they don't hit the same highs as the original game. There's nothing that matches the scale of Shy Guy Falls or Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road, the variety of Mount Wario, the spectacle of Electrodome, or the sheer brain-melting 3-dimensionally of Mario's circuit. More so than the remastered tracks found in the original Mario Kart 8, which augmented their original designs with elements like anti-gravity and underwater driving from newer entries. These 8 new additions feel very faithful to the courses they're based on. You won't find yourself suddenly racing up 90-degree angles thanks to the anti-gravity pads on the Nintendo 64's Choco Mountain or plunged underwater in the Wii's Coconut Mall. This faithfulness extends to the look of these new areas, which aren't as detailed as the remasters Nintendo shipped in the original game. For example, Ribbon Road and Sky Garden are both courses that originally appeared on the Game Boy Advance, but the former shipped as one of Mario Kart 8's stock tracks, while the latter was released last week as part of this new DLC. Neither of them looks like they date back to a 2-decade-old handheld system, but the newly released Sky Garden just isn't teeming with detail like Ribbon Road was. It's almost as though one has been completely remade while the other has gone through a more simpler remastering. That's not to say there aren't more subtle delights to be found here. Paris Promenade, a track originally released for Mario Kart Tour, has quickly turned into a new favorite of mine, serenading you with an accordion as you slide around the course. On its 3rd lap, it sends you back on yourself to race the course in reverse, leading to a inevitably frantic couple of seconds where other racers suddenly become oncoming traffic. So yeah, there you go. So just to summarize, new downloadable content, cost of $24.99, that's probably US, or free if you're a subscriber to Nintendo's Premium Switch Online Expansion Pack tier. These new DLC courses don't have much match for the quality of the game's original tracks to be a good deal. Buying them is a no-brainer if you're still playing the occasional round of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but in 2022, half a decade on from the last substantial addition to Mario Kart's roster, it's not hard to hunger for something more substantial. So we got some tracks coming. Looks like they're recycled tracks from previous games. I mean, this is much like the Mario Kart in itself, where I noticed, because I actually have that game, which was included with the Nintendo Switch this past Christmas, and it also has tracks. I mean, from previous handheld, all the consoles that have been developed in the past. Okay, so now we have another Nintendo headline here, and it is in regards to the Nintendo's firmware update. The latest 14.0.0 firmware update also allows downloadable games to be organized in custom folders. So this headline here, Nintendo Switch latest update improves but doesn't fix its wonky Bluetooth headphone support. So let's keep going here. Let's read a little bit of this article here. So back in September of 2021, Nintendo released the 13.0.0 firmware update for the Switch that finally added native support for wireless Bluetooth headphones. It was far from perfect. However, so with the new 14.0.0 Switch update released last night, looks like I'm going to have to go see if download it. Nintendo has improved the console's functionality with wireless headphones. When the 13.0.0 update arrived, it didn't take long to figure out why Nintendo had held out on Bluetooth headphone support for so long. The Switch uses Bluetooth connectivity for its wireless Joy-Con controllers too. And with Bluetooth headphones connected, the console is only able to connect to 2 controllers at a time, limiting how many players can join in the fun with games like Super Mario Party. Bluetooth headphones also had to be disconnected whenever 2 nearby switches were wirelessly connected to each other for multiplayer gaming. Does the 14.0.0 Switch update remedy these shortcomings? Unfortunately not, but as a consolation prize, the volume level of connected Bluetooth headphones or speakers can now be adjusted using the Switch's volume buttons or dedicated controllers on the Bluetooth audio device itself, including on-screen indicators of volume adjustments when that's done. The update also promises to increase the volume of some Bluetooth audio devices so gamers can be more effectively startled when an attacking Pokemon screams at them in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Another useful feature in the 14.0.0 firmware is the introduction groups, allowing users who've downloaded countless games over the console's 5-year lifespan to better organize them on Switch's home screen. Up to 100 different group folders can be created and filled with up to 200 games, and each folder can be assigned a custom label. Creating and sorting app icons into the groups doesn't look as easy as it is on smartphones. Nintendo has provided a step-by-step how-to guide, but it's a welcome upgrade that also does away with the all software button that now only appears on the home screen when there are, and I quote, 13 or more software title icons on the system. So there you have it, the latest update for the Switch's firmware. Unfortunately, still struggling with Bluetooth headphone support, but they got a better way of organizing your games if you have a lot of them downloaded onto your console. As we move on, I found an article here that lists the best video games of 2022 so far. So let's see what this article has listed for what we have in terms of impressive games. So a running list of standout games from an already impressive year, according to this article in Polygon website. 2022 has not wasted any time. Whether because of shifting release calendars, less reliance on the retail sphere, or delays from the COVID-19 pandemic, the first quarter of 2022 has become a perfect storm of video game release mayhem. So we've got Pokemon, we've led demon armies, we've parkoured our asses off, and there's no end in sight. The rest of March is just as varied in its genre trappings from developers big and small on just as many platforms as the preceding months. Even so, we've taken upon ourselves to help you start separating the wheat from the chaff. To recommend our favorite games from the slew of ambitious titles that release as the months go by. Well, okay, so this website will be updated throughout the year. So what do we have here? So they have Elden Ring as a game here. Numerous games have tried to emulate the explorative world of 2017's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but Elden Ring is the first game to truly succeed. With a landscape that will take years to fully decipher, it is every bit the kind of game we've come to expect from a developer from the developer From Software. Mysterious, impenetrable, and ultimately rewarding. But its open world trappings reframe much of the brutality of those games that don't detract from their challenges, but rather encourage incremental progress over brute force. It's not uncommon to get lost in the far corner of the map for a dozen hours, only to return to a previous challenge as a completely new character with stronger powers and newfound wisdom at your disposal. This game is a marvel. The next game we have here is Destiny 2. Let me finish off here. So Elden Ring is available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. The next game that's great for this year, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. Destiny has been through a lot since 2014. Rocky release days, a global pandemic, and a sale to PlayStation, to name a few of its many obstacles. So it's almost a miracle that 8 years along, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen is the best thing to ever happen to the series. With a new campaign, new location, new weapons, and new powers, it's more Destiny to be sure. But it's also Destiny without the qualifiers or the conversations that are spoken with not a small amount of yearning. Imagine how good this would be if Bungie did X, Y, or Z. Bungie has spent the past few years building on potential of its massive experiment, and The Witch Queen is definitely paying off. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen is available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Google Stadia. The next one here, Lost Ark. We have here, Lost Ark is an impressive feat. Its outstanding class design and excellent ARPG gameplay would already be enough to set it apart from many of this year's games, but it's also a content goldmine. Originally launched in Korea in 2019, then adapted for release in Europe and North America this year, the MMO launched a fantastic endgame content right out of the gate, a rarity for the genre. And while Lost Ark's already extremely rewarding on its own, developer Smilegate RPG is promising more endgame content with new classes in the near future. It seems as if there's still an exciting road ahead. Lost Ark is available on Windows PC only. Our next game on this list is Strange Horticulture. In Strange Horticulture, you sell plants. Though the plants may look ordinary, they're anything but. They are plants that make people brave and others that lure them to their death. Some are meant to increase focus or poison your enemies. It's a simple game that's executed in the utmost attention to detail. In running this plant shop, a strange occult story unfolds through customer gossip and plants found via an in-game map. Strange Horticulture is short. It just took over 5 hours to complete, but is one of the more impactful games ever played. Wow, this one actually sounds interesting for me to try out, but it is Strange Horticulture is available on Windows PC. That kind of sucks. So I'm just going to do a couple more games here. So the next one here is Total War Warhammer 3. There are ambitious games, and there are ambitious games. Total War Warhammer 3 is the latter. Its map is bigger than those of its predecessors combined, and it launched with 8 fantasy factions, each stranger and more grandiose than the last. It's also exceedingly weird and refuses to rest on its laurels as the strategy trilogy wraps up instead of pushing the envelope where it can. It transports players to ethereal chaos realms before warping them back to their homeland to battle diseased Goliaths and shape-shifting demon lords. It is as far from a safe third installment as we've seen in since Hitman 3. And if the DLC roadmap for Total War Warhammer 2 was any indication, the next few years will get even weirder. Total War Warhammer 3 is available on Windows PC, Mac, and Linux, and via PC Game Pass. And one more here I'll mention is Horizon Forbidden West. The sequel to 2017's excellent post-apocalyptic Horizon Zero Dawn is already one of the year's best. Horizon Forbidden West takes so much of what we made what made the first game great, and gives players more to work with, more settlements, weapons, and traversal options. It starts a bit slow and can take a while to introduce some of its more creative gadgets, but it gets better and better as you unlock more tools for your arsenal. By the end, Aloy can glide off mountains, swim the deepest seas, and explore American landmarks along the west coast. This game's gorgeous open world feels like a gift, and it's easy to sink hours into exploring every gorgeous corner. Meanwhile, the character writing and the world-building convoy, a civilization well worth saving. So those are just a few of the titles here that are fantastic to play with 2022. And for my final article, it's Pokemon cards, and I always find these sales interesting from Zelda game, Mario game. Here we have the Charizard Pokemon, the coveted Charizard Pokemon, and here it is, Charizard Pokemon card sold for a record $420,000. And I'm just reading the title here, how much is yours worth? So reading the article here from Paul Tassi in Forbes magazine, my parents laughed when I said my Pokemon cards would be worth something someday, but now in 2022, original pristine sets of cards are indeed being sold for a ton of money, part of a recent, quote, gold rush trend on Pokemon cards that has culminated into the biggest sale yet for an OG's Charizard. At the PWCC March premiere auction, a 1999 Charizard Pokemon card just sold for a record-breaking $420,000, and the most a Charizard has ever sold for, and the third highest of any Pokemon card of all time. Why so much? Well, this is a special one, it seems. The most special, in fact. Here's what netted that kind of price. The card's price was buoyed not only by its PSA 10 gem mint grade, but also 121 PSA 10s exist in the world at the time of the auction, but also by the fact that it is one of the cleanest copies in existence. The card has no visible whitening on the back, appears to have perfect centering, and looks to have no hollow imperfections. Another reason the price was so high is because of the 121 PSA 10s in the world, most are owned by serious collectors or celebrities, and as such are not likely to make it to market. So when one actually does, well, you get this kind of ridiculous price. So there you have it, folks. And going on, just looking here, it says, I believe the most valuable Pokemon card in history is still the Pikachu Illustrator card that sold for $900,000. The Japanese card that was a limited edition creation for winners of an art contest, making it exceedingly rare. No Charizard is likely to hit the mark anytime soon. Before this, the previous Charizard record was $399,000. And it says, get yours graded if you want, just manage your expectations. So there are the headlines for this week's Tech Loft news and gaming, and I'm going to just add pop culture and whatever. Hopefully you enjoyed a lot of it. We got a lot of headlines in this week's episode. Join me again for next week's episode in gaming news. Don't forget, you can subscribe to our channel, the Tech Loft podcast, on any of the major podcast platforms. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, we're all there. Thank you for listening, and ciao for now.